Hello all. I just wanted to share a video with you that my brother shared with me last night, which was Monday, January the 9th, 2018. It's in regards to a Kansas politician who made some disparaging remarks about black people and weed smoking and genetics. So yeah, I want you to take a listen and let me know your thoughts. I'll be adding my own thoughts at the end. In regards to the video, the clip itself, I tried to increase the audio on it, but it was at 100% already. So I need you guys to increase the audio on your computer, your laptop, your tablet, or your phone. All right.
Guy smoking marijuana in a car. That smell took up my freedom. I wanted clean air because there's a lot of people gave up smoking, so everyone else could have clean air or clean atmosphere and stuff like that.
Can I clarify that would be against the law in Colorado too?
What's that?
I just want to clarify that would be against the law in Colorado too.
Okay. The other thing too, my wife is a magistrate judge. And she says basically any way you say it, marijuana is an entry drug into the higher drugs. What you really need to do is go back in the 30s and where they outlawed all types of drugs in Kansas across the United States. What was the reason why they did that? One of the reasons why, I hate to say it, it's the African Americans. They were basically users, and they basically responded the worst to all those drugs just because their character makeup, their genetics and that. And so basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to do a complete reverse with people not remembering what's happened in the past. So basically I'm against, marijuana, all the way to.
So I wanted to read an article to you that I found from Huffington Post in regards to this video, and just to put the video in perspective and to let you know where he got his racist rhetoric from. So the title of the article is "Lawmaker Says Black People Can't Handle Marijuana Because of Genetics." Put this in your pipe and smoke it. A Kansas lawmaker thinks marijuana should be illegal because he said black people are genetically unable to handle its effects. State Representative Steve Alford, Republican, spoke out on Saturday against legalizing pot using the type of racist logic commonly heard when Reefer Madness was considered a serious documentary. Alford's quote, "What you really need to do is go back in the 30s when they outlawed all types of drugs in Kansas and across the United States." Alford said, according to the Garden City Telegram, "One of the reasons why, I hate to say it, was that the African Americans, they were basically users, and they basically responded the worst off to those drugs just because of their character makeup, their genetics, and that." End quote. Kansas is one of the few states that still hasn't legalized some form of medical marijuana, according to the Associated Press. The Telegram pointed out that Alford's comments appeared to be based on the theories of Harry Anslinger, the founding commissioner of what was then called the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, which was behind the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937. Some of the very racist and hysterically anti-cannabis quotes attributed to the agency include these whoppers, so there's 3 of them. The first is, "Reefer makes darkies think they're good as white men." 2, "There are 100,000 total marijuana smokers in the U.S., and most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Their satanic music, jazz, and swing result from marijuana use. This marijuana causes white women to seek sexual relations with Negroes, entertainers, and others." And 3, the last one, "Marijuana is an addictive drug which produces in its users insanity, criminality, and death." Although Alford, who represents a district in western Kansas, stood by his remarks when questioned after the meeting, he was unable to cite a specific source for his so-called science to the Telegram. However, he admitted he shouldn't have singled out African Americans. There are certain groups of people, their genetics, their way their makeup is, the chemicals will affect them differently, Alford insisted. What I should have said was drugs affect people differently instead of being more specific. On Monday, Alford denied that his remarks were racist to the Associated Press. He, in quotes, "To me, that's neutral. Basically, I got called a racist, which I'm really not, and it's just the way people, the interpretation of people. To me, I'm trying to look at what's really the best for Kansas." Carl Brewer, a Democratic candidate for governor, said Alford's comments were inappropriate for a politician in 2018. It is hard to believe that in 2018 anyone would support the discredited and racist policies of the Jim Crow era. Brewer said in a statement to KSN TV, "No matter one's feelings on medical marijuana and marijuana legalization, we can all agree that views like those of Kansas City Representative Alford have no place in our state's house, in our state, or in our country." State Representative Valdinia Wynn, a Democrat who represents part of Kansas City, called Alford's comments bizarre. He needs to apologize to somebody, if nothing else the individuals of color in his own community, she told the Wichita Eagle. End of article. So the first thing I thought when I listened to the video was, so black people can handle, according to this lawmaker, Steve Alford, can handle marijuana, but white people can, or Asians can, or Hispanics can handle it better. Now this is before I read the article. And how it reminded me, because I live here in Canada, I'm from Toronto, and reading Canadian history, back when the English came to Canada and encountered the natives that lived here, the Aboriginals that were here. And you know, they were trading guns and alcohol and fur, and how white people back then would say the same thing about, even today, they say the same racist crap about Aboriginals and alcohol, and how they're not able to handle their liquor. The last I checked, nobody can handle their liquor. Depending on whether or not you're a man or a woman, it has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with your gender and weight size. You're going to get drunk. If you drink too much, you're going to get high. If you smoke weed, that's just how it is. It has nothing to do with race. So why would someone, a lawmaker, make a comment like this? Where would he get his information from? Like, that's always my first instinct. Where did they get that information from? Because I've never heard that black people were not able to handle marijuana. I've never read a study like that anywhere, any scientific study. I've never come across it, never heard anybody say it. So I just decided after I read the article, I would look, or seen the video, I would look up the article, and that's when I came across the Huffington Post article. And it's not even based in science. It's coming from another white racist who makes these outlandish claims. Reefers make darkies think they are as good as white men. Since when? That has never happened. I don't know what happened then, or what he viewed then, that would make a black person smoke weed and then say all of a sudden, I'm white, I think I'm better. Or because they got high, they got more bold. I have no idea where that thought process came from. There are a total of 100,000 marijuana smokers in the US. I don't know what the population of the US was at that time. And most of them were Negroes. How does he know that? How does he know that? Most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Their satanic music, jazz, and swing is from marijuana use. Well, I wouldn't call it satanic. I don't know whether or not it had anything to do with marijuana use, but the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s brought out some of the best music. Jazz and blues that we've ever heard. So, I don't know if I want to really put down marijuana smoke if that had anything to do with it. This one I love. Marijuana causes white women to seek sexual relations with Negroes, entertainers, and others. You know what? I don't really think it has anything to do with marijuana. Because that's continuing today. So, but you know, it doesn't surprise me that a white man, a racist white man, would blame weed on black people, or on their behaviors, or what white women were doing, running to black men because they were high from weed. Marijuana is an addictive drug which produces in its users insanity, criminality, and death. I've never heard of anybody dying from marijuana smoke. I know if you ingest it, well, I shouldn't say that. They usually put marijuana in cookies and brownies. Does it cause insanity? A lot of things cause insanity if you're overusing something. If you're always overusing a particular drug, it's going to affect your brain, of course. But not necessarily marijuana use. It could be genetic. It could be environmental. Criminality. I've never heard of anybody smoking weed and then going out and robbing a bank or murdering someone. And again, you don't need that you don't need that drug to do that. So all I hear is just a bunch of excuses attributed to black people. And the kicker for me is here we have a lawmaker in the 21st century repeating unscientific, unsubstantiated claims from a racist white man to use as an excuse not to legalize marijuana in his state. Like, what kind of stupid do you have to be to use this type of rhetoric? It makes no sense to me. He didn't even bother apologizing. I have no idea whether or not he's going to do that. But his excuse here, there's certain groups of people, their genetics, the way their makeup is, the chemicals will affect them differently. Yes, but that has nothing to do with being black. That's not a racial thing. That's not an ethnic thing. Why don't you talk about how people within your own race are not able to handle opioids or meth or acid, and how it's killing off your race, how it's an epidemic within your race. Instead, you're focusing on weed and black people. You think it's a gateway drug to other things. Ask those other addicts who are on weed or who are on meth and opioids and taking over-the-counter drugs if they were smoking marijuana before they did all that? One has nothing to do with the other. And there's enough scientific evidence out there that would prove him wrong. And this part where he denies where he's a racist. Anytime you take information from a racist from the 1930s during the Jim Crow era and you quote it like it's fact, you're a freaking racist. That's it. And the quote that whatever statement he makes here, to me that's neutral. Basically, I got called a racist, which I'm really not. No, you are. And it's just the way people, the interpretation of people, makes no sense. I have no idea what he's saying there. And he's just trying to look out for the best for Kansas. Well, that's okay if you want to look out for the best for Kansas, but at least be logical, be rational. Don't come out here looking stupid, like you have an IQ of 40. You're a lawmaker. You're supposed to use facts and science to back up your argument. This doesn't work. The Democratic candidate Carl Brewer, he talks about how it's inappropriate for a politician in 2018, blah, 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 blah. 2018, 2017, 2016. Politicians do it. We have racist Republicans, racist conservatives. It's happened every year, every decade, every century. So 2018 is not going to be any different. I mean, we're only like a week or two in, so whatever. Oh yeah, so this is pretty much my take on it. I don't see him apologizing. I just think he comes off looking stupid, dumb, ignorant, and really it's really embarrassing. So yeah, that's my take. Leave your comments below if you have any, your thoughts, and if you want to share the video, please do so. Have a good one.